glasses. Why not?
Right.
You have to go out and pass flyers and invite them. You need more than a kanta to be able to do that.
Okay.
The class. Jai Rama Punjabi Gopi Janavaba Girivardhari Gopi Janavaba Girivardhari Yasoranandana Braja Janaranjana Yasoranandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Jai Radha Punjabi Hari Radha Punjabi Hari Jai Radha Punjabi Jai Radha Punjabi Jai Radha Jai Jagannath Jai Jagannath Jai Balaji Mai Subhadra Jai Jagannath Jai Jagannath Jai Balaji Jai Subhadra Jai Srinath Ji Jai Bhagupal Jai Srinath Ji Jai Ji Govardhan Jai Srinath Ji Jai Bhagupal Jai Srinath Ji Jai Govardhan Jaya Gaurani Jai Jaya Gaurani Jai Jaya Gaurani Jai Jaya Gaurani Jai Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya 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 Vishnupada Paramahamsa Gururani Acharya Astotra Satyashi Shimar Divine Grace Abhay Charanadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Granthra Shrimadbhagavatam Ki Jai Their most merciful Lordship Shri Kunja Bihari Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Shri Baladev Mai Subhadra Ki Jai Shri Nathaji Shri Balagopal Ki Jai Shri Gonitai Ki Jai Nitai Go Prema All glories to the assembled one. All glories to the assembled one. All glories to the Lord and Spirit of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devam Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devam Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayam Udilaya.
Tato Jayam Udilaya.
Nastaprashu Bhadreshu
Nastaprayashu Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistaki. We are going to be reading from the Ekadashi book today, and in order to get the full benefit of keeping the Ekadashi perfectly, we recite the names of the Ekadashis. And we will use the Vaishnava names. Please repeat after me. Utpana, Mokshara, Safala, Uttrada, Trisprisha, Vaimi, Vijaya, Amalaki, Papavimochani, Damana Karopani,
Karanani
Varutini, Mohini, Apara, Pandava Nirja, Yogini, Devasayini, Kamika, Pavitropani, Anada, Harshva, Indira, Pashankush, Rama Ekadashi, Devotani, Visudha, Sudha. So today is Indira Ekadashi, and we'll begin. Yudhisthira Maharaj said, O Madhusudan, O killer of the Madhusudan, what is the name of the Ekadashi that occurs during the dark fortnight of the month of Ashvina, September, October? Please describe its glories to me. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna replied, this holy day is called Indira Ekadashi. If a person fasts on this day, all his sins are eradicated, and his forefathers who have fallen into hell are liberated. Krishna, O best of kings, one who simply hears about this Ekadashi achieves the great merit earned by performing a horse sacrifice. We know what that is. In the Satya Yuga, there lived a king named Indra, who was so powerful that he destroyed all his enemies. His kingdom was called Mahishmatipuri. The glorious and highly religious king Indrasen took good care of his subjects, and therefore he was rich in gold, grains, sons, and grandsons. He was greatly devoted to Sri Vishnu as well. He especially enjoyed chanting my name, calling out, Govinda, Govinda. In this way, King Indrasen systematically dedicated himself to pure spiritual life and spent much time meditating on the absolute truth. One day, as King Indrasen happily and peacefully presided over his assembly, the perfect order Narad Muni was seen descending from the sky. The king offered Devarishi Narad, the saint among the demigods, great respect by greeting him with joined palms, inviting him into the palace, offering him a comfortable seat, washing his feet, and speaking sweet words of welcome. Then Narad Muni said to Maharaj Indrasen, O king, are the 7 limbs of your kingdom prospering? Is your mind absorbed in thinking of how you can properly perform your occupational duty? Are you becoming more and more devoted to the Supreme Lord Sri Vishnu? The king replied, by your kind grace, O greatest of sages, everything is quite well. Today, just by your presence, all the sacrifices in my kingdom are successful. Please show me mercy and explain the reason for your visit here. Sri Narad, the sage among the demigods, then said, O lion among kings, listen to my astonishing words. When I descended from Brahmaloka to Yamaloka, Lord Yamaraj praised me very graciously and offered me an excellent seat. As I glorified his truthfulness and wonderful service to the Supreme Lord, I noticed your father in Yamaraj's assembly. Though he had been very religious, because he broke an Ekadashi fast prematurely, he had to go to Yamaloka. Your father gave me a message for you. He said, in Mahashmati lives a king named Indrasena. Please tell him about my situation here, that because of my past sinful deeds, I have somehow been forced to reside in Yamaraj's kingdom. Please give him this message from me. O son, kindly observe Indira Ekadashi and give much in charity so I can go upward to heaven. Now, I might make a comment here. I have been told by authorities that we are given these times just as a matter of preciseness, that you just break it when the day is from sunup to sundown. And also that could be, but this does specifically say there is a specific time to break. And if you don't break at that time, he ended up in hell, even though he had been keeping everything else. King Indrasena said, O great Naraji, please be merciful and tell me specifically how to observe a fast on Indira Ekadashi. Oh wait, Narad continued, just to deliver this message, O king, have I come to you. You should help your father by observing the fast of Indira Ekadashi. By the merit you gain, your father will go to heaven. King Indrasena asked, O great Naraji, please be merciful and tell me specifically how to observe a fast on Indira Ekadashi. And also, tell me during what month and on what day it occurs. Narad Muni replied, O king, please listen as I describe to you the full process of observing Indira Ekadashi. This Ekadashi occurs during the dark fortnight of the month of Ashwin. On Dasami, the day before Ekadashi, rise early in the morning, bathe, and then do some service for God with full faith. At noon, bathe again with running water, and then offer oblations to your forefathers with faith and devotion. Be sure not to eat more than once on this day, and at night, sleep on the floor. When you awaken on Ekadashi morning, see, this is all everyday business for Brahmachari. Do this every day. When you awaken on Ekadashi morning, cleanse your mouth and teeth thoroughly, and then with deep devotion for the Lord, take this sacred vow. Quote, today I shall fast completely and give up all kinds of sense enjoyment. O lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead, O infallible one, please give me shelter at your lotus feet. At noon, stand before Shishalagram Shila and worship him faithfully, following all the rules and regulations. Then offer oblations to your forefathers. Next, feed qualified Brahmins and offer them some charity according to your means. Now, take the food you offered to your forefathers, smell it, and then offer it to a cow. Next, worship Lord Rishikesh with incense and flowers. And finally, remain awake all night near the deity of Sri Keshava. Early in the morning of the next day, Dwadasi, worship Sri Hari with great devotion and invite Brahmins to a sumptuous feast. Then feed your relatives, and finally take your meal in silence. O king, if you strictly observe a fast, on Indira Ekadashi in this way, with controlled senses, your father will surely be elevated to the abode of Lord Vishnu. After saying this, Deva Rishi Narad immediately disappeared. King Indrasen followed the great saint's instructions perfectly, observing the fast and the association of his relatives and servants. As he broke his fast on Dwadasi, flowers fell from the sky. The merit Indrasen earned by observing this fast released his father from the kingdom of Yamaraj and caused him to attain a completely spiritual body. Indeed, Indrasen saw him rising to the abode of Lord Hari on the back of Garuda. Indrasen himself was able to rule his kingdom without any obstacles, and in time he handed over the kingdom to his son and also went to Vaikuntha. O Yudhisthira, these are the glories of Indira Ekadashi, which occurs during the dark fortnight of the month of Ashwin. Whoever hears or reads this narration certainly enjoys life in this world. Is freed of all his past sins, and at death returns home, back to Godhead, where he lives eternally. This ends the narration of the glories of Ashwin Krishna Ekadashi, or Indira Ekadashi, from the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. Now I want to make mention about this because we're seeing both the result of one going to the heavenly planets and then later also the result of Indrasen, King Indrasen, going back to Godhead. So he performed the Ekadashi. But see, here is the thing. These scriptures, I would say, would be equated by Srila Prabhupada with those that are given to those who are on the path hoping to gain the ultimate goal of the heavenly planets. Right? But by reading this, we can see that if simply by following these regulations given for the benefit of attaining the heavenly planets, what is that attainable by serving Krishna every day? See, and that's what the difference between the result of his forefathers for getting into the heavenly planets and the result that he got for keeping the fast. He went back to Godhead, back to Vaikuntha, home. Krishna called it there, back to home. Krishna's calling us home. So now you can know, just keep the rest of the day, the Ekadashi, and you're getting the full benefit. Your forefathers, any of them which may be suffering, unknowingly or knowingly, they'll be removed. Amazing. Krishna's kindness to allow us to engage in acts that give us the ability to deliver souls from hell. What path gives people the ability to deliver those who have fallen into hell? I don't know of anyone. Christianity thinks that's the end, you know. Once you're in hell, that's it, finished. Forever and ever. But see, we're seeing from Krishna's words a big distinction between the one who is the supreme controller and those who are under the control of the powers that be and the control of karma. So we have chanted the invocation. We're reading from Shrimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 36. Is that correct? Text 36. Shrimadbhagavatam Gayanti Grinanti Abhikshnasa Shrimadbhagavatam Gayanti Grinanti Abhikshnasa Smaranti Nandanti Tavehitam Jana Smaranti Nandanti Tavehitam Jana Ta Eva Pasyanti Achirena Tabakam Ta Eva Pasyanti Achirena Tabakam Bhava Pravaho Paramam Parambujam Bhava Pravaho Paramam Bhalum Pujam Shrimadbhagavatam Gayanti Grinanti Abhikshnasa Smaranti Nandanti Tavehitam Jana Ta eva pasyanti achirena tavakam Bhava pravaho paramam padambujam Shrimadbhagavatam Gayanti Grinanti Abhikshnasa Smaranti Nandanti Tavehitam Jana Ta eva pasyanti achirena tavakam Bhava pravaho paramam padambujam
Shrimadbhagavatam Gayanti Grinanti Abhikshnasa
Shrimadbhagavatam Gayanti Grinanti Abhikshnasa Smaranti Nandanti Tavehitam Jana Ta eva pasyanti achirena tavakam
Bhava Pravaho Paramam Padambujam
Bhava Pravaho Paramam Padambujam Shrimadbhagavatam Gayanti Grinanti Abhikshnasa Smaranti Nandanti Tavehitam Jana Ta eva pasyanti achirena tavakam Bhava Pravaho Paramam Padambujam Shrimadbhagavatam hear Gayanti chant Grinanti take Abhikshnasa continuously Smaranti remember Nandanti take pleasure Tava your Ihitam activities Jana people in general Te they Eva certainly Pasyanti can see Achirena very soon Tavakam your Bhava Pravaha the current of rebirth Uparamam cessation Para Ambujam lotus feet. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace of Acharanavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities, or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Please repeat, O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant and repeat
chant and repeat
your transcendental activity, or take pleasure in others doing so. Certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna cannot be seen by our present conditional vision. In order to see Him, one has to change his present vision by developing a different condition of life, full of spontaneous love of Godhead. When Sri Krishna was personally present on the face of the globe, not everyone could see Him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Materialists like Ravan, Hiranyakasipu, Kamsa, Jarasandha, and Shishupal were highly qualified personalities by acquisition of material assets, but they were unable to appreciate the presence of the Lord. Therefore, even though the Lord may be present before our eyes, it is not possible to see Him unless we have the necessary vision. This necessary qualification is developed by the process of devotional service only, beginning with hearing about the Lord from the right sources. The Bhagavad Gita is one of the popular literatures which are generally heard, chanted, repeated, etc. by the people in general. But in spite of such hearing, etc., sometimes it is experienced that the performer of such devotional service does not see the Lord eye to eye. The reason is that the first item, Shravana, is very important. If hearing is from the right sources, it acts very quickly. Generally, people hear from unauthorized persons. Such unauthorized persons may be very learned by academic qualifications, but because they do not follow the principles of devotional service, hearing from them becomes a sheer waste of time. Sometimes the texts are interpreted fashionably to suit their own purposes. Therefore, first, one should select a competent and bona fide speaker and then hear from him. When the hearing process is perfect and complete, the other processes become automatically perfect in their own way. There are different transcendental activities of the Lord, and each and every one of them is competent to bestow the desired result, provided the hearing process is perfect. In the Bhagavatam, the activities of the Lord begin from His dealings with the Pandavas. There are many other pastimes of the Lord in connection with His dealings with the Asuras and others. And in the 10th canto, the sublime dealings with His conjugal associates, the gopis, as well as with His married wives at Dwarka, are mentioned. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no difference in the transcendental nature of each and every dealing of the Lord. But sometimes people, in an unauthorized hearing process, take more interest in hearing about His dealings with the gopis. Such an inclination indicates the lusty feelings of the hearer. So, as a bona fide speaker of the dealings of the Lord, never indulges in such hearings. One must hear about the Lord from the very beginning, as in Shrimadbhagavatam or in other scriptures, and that will help the hearer attain perfection by progressive development. One should not, therefore, consider that his dealings with the Pandavas are less important than his dealings with the gopis. We must always remember that the Lord is always transcendental to all mundane attachment. In all the above-mentioned dealings of the Lord, he is the hero in all circumstances, and hearing about him or about his devotees or combatants is conducive to spiritual life. It is said that the Vedas and Puranas, etc., are all made to revive our lost relation with him. Hearing of all these scriptures is essential. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnanjana Shalakaya Chakshusunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. See, present-day psychologists and those in the field of curing the mental illnesses of humanity classify sects of people who separate themselves from the society into what they call cults. And normally one of the qualities of cults is that they demand that you read nothing else but their own teachings. And see, we accept all the Vedas as coming from God for the purpose of purifying people's hearts and leading them to the absolute truth. So we look at the Bible like that, we look at the Quran like that, we look at other teachings of other spiritual masters as well from the past. Joseph Smith gave the plates of Nephi, it's supposed to be called. But we nevertheless see these literatures for the specific purposes they were given to the groups of people that they were given to. Because these people, by their own confessions, are aiming for the heavenly planets. Just as I was speaking about the Ekadashi book the same way. It is written, ideally, towards a specific group of people who are making their goal the heavenly planets. Now, we engage in this irregardless of the fact we're not trying to get to the heavenly planets, but there are specific benefits given that by these acts, our own family members can be pulled out of the sufferings that they are in. So, in this way, it is very highly encouraged, as this is bringing out as well, that we keep our minds absorbed, because there is so much to absorb, especially in the early years of developing Krishna consciousness. There are so many volumes of books within Krishna consciousness to be absorbed, to come to the preliminary stages of that which is being described as the path of bhakti. So when I hear devotees going out and reading this book and reading that book and offering me books to read as well, I very much appreciate the enthusiasm devotees have about drawing closer to Krishna and appreciating the goal that they're finding in everything, everywhere that they are finding it. But from my own personal experience now, I've come to find that it's very difficult for me to spend time reading books other than that Srila Prabhupada is authorizing, given, or that written by his own personal associates. Because we do have very little amount of time, and as I see my days drawing to an end. The physical body I am living in is I am not finding the ability to use it the same way I could when I was 25 years old, 35 years old. So I know the days that I have left on this planet are drawing to an end. So I especially want to use my time as much as possible to strictly stick to Srila Prabhupada's books and teachings. Especially, see, when we are as well being given the realization that all of these teachings have been available on the planet since time immemorial, and only a few select individuals have been given the privilege of being able to read these literatures, because these are the very intimate most teachings, most confidential teachings of the Supreme Person himself. So we may not have a very high estimation of our own particular value as far as having made spiritual advancement, but that doesn't take away from the fact that Krishna has himself picked us out of the rest of the crowd to reveal these very intimate writings about his very intimate most dealings with the souls that he is closest to, even from the spiritual world, because he's brought them with him here. So, as well, very importantly, a subtle warning is being given here that we don't look at these pastimes Krishna is having with the gopis as the same kind of relationships we have in our own past had with women. And that's the warning being given here, that these yogis, so-called, will jump into the 10th canto and begin revealing Leela of Krishna, that they themselves think they are as well attracting women with their approach to this to be able to have themselves what they think to be the equivalent relationships. And so Srila Prabhupada is, see, all of this yoga as well, the perfecting of the physical body, Srila Prabhupada points out, can in fact be a stumbling block. Why? Because we start putting so much thought of our minds upon the physical body. The balance is there. Ayurveda is there. And the study of it is valid, authorized. But there is a position for us to have it in our psyche as not the end-all, the be-all and end-all. Health of the body, physical health of the body. Just as Srila Prabhupada showed in his life as well. Right. When doctors were giving him medication and he was taking Krishna Prasadam. Okay. The value of the food being offered to Krishna as Prasadam takes precedence over our own mundane ideas of what value the food has nutritionally, right? This ability the food has to transform consciousness is much more important about the food than the way our taste buds are responding to it.
Higher taste.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So our senses having been conditioned, our mind is the thing that is getting the conditioning. And so the way the mind functions is what these books are themselves, acting like a doctor to our minds, healing us from the ways we have been conditioned to believe we should think, and helping us to think the way we're supposed to think. Right. So, from one perspective then, a psychologist may look at Krishna consciousness as being one of those institutions that forces its believers, no, you can only read these books, you can't read any. No, we don't look like that. We know there's gold everywhere to be found. But if you are at the richest, most complete, everywhere you look is gold, why go outside in the mud trying to find bits and pieces here and there, you know? So that's why I can just share with you my own appreciation for what Shrimadbhagavatam means to me now, especially in my later years. Maybe they're not my later years, I don't know. Because see, what we have by example with someone like Narad Muni, appearing in all of these pastimes with Krishna in this material realm, is that he has found such close friendship with Krishna that the meaningful purpose of saving souls and coming into this place to bring souls out, see, that's what all these activities for us to be taking part in is for. Not only us, but for those who don't have this knowledge. Every act we're engaging in to purify ourselves has the purpose of gaining others, bringing them to the reality of what it is we have found, what jewel we have in Krishna, and in knowing his very presence at every moment throughout the day. We really do have the greatest treasure there is for human life to find, in knowing, in the full knowledge that God himself, the supreme, all-powerful God himself, is sharing this life with us, this very body with us. And we have this to give to others. And it is the desire we develop to give it to the others that gives Krishna the impetus to want to give us more. And see, that's an act of love. Whereas the false ego is always acting to provide itself. I mean mine. Whereas prashadam distribution means I'm going to help give it out to others. I'm not going to eat it all myself. So the way we look at everything, we don't sleep for ourselves. We sleep so that we can engage in devotional service. Everything in life now that used to be looked at by us, for us, by us, no, it's for Krishna, by Krishna. Your body's not yours. Your mind is not yours to use as you want. Your clothing shouldn't be yours. None of the things in our life that occupy our mind should we think of as our own anymore, even. The mind itself is not ours. We give it to Krishna because he knows how to use it. And in us, by surrendering to him our will, and we give him the right to take over. Krishna, you take over my life. I realize now I don't know anything. I went about my own ways, and I failed. Everything I thought was happy and fun was a big, big failure, causing pain and suffering on behalf of other people that I've involved myself with wrongly. So, Krishna, I have no choice but to surrender to you. I've come to learn enough in life that I don't know without your superior guidance. We keep that mentality through the day. Then we can come to the realization that Krishna has gone out of his way. How much does he have to give us for us to absorb ourselves completely in this every day? How much more does he have to give us before we will find it important enough to make it the totality of what we want to spend our life in, spend our life doing and gaining the knowledge of. Ekadashi is, I don't know, for me it's become something I look forward to, actually. And you know, every time I read these stories, it's like reading it for the first time. I must have read this Ekadashi book at least 4 or 5 times through. Mm-hmm. And every time I read it, it's like reading it for the first time. I find that with Bhagavatam as well. I'm reading the 7th canto, this is like the 2nd time through. But it's like the first time through. It's like, because these precepts that are with Krishna, and see, the qualities of Krishna have eternally been complete like that, which is why Sheshanag can glorify Krishna and has been glorifying Krishna at every moment, never repeating himself in all of eternity. This is where conceptualization originates, from that energy of Krishna that is glorifying him in the form of Sheshanag. Who would think out of the mouth of a snake that Krishna is lying on as his brother also, Krishna's brother, in the form of a couch. So in that sense, see, sometimes in our minds, because of the way it's written, we see gradation, lower levels and higher levels. But once the highest level is reached, it's realized that the highest level contains all the lower levels as well. So we can't badmouth the low levels, because at the same time we're badmouthing the high levels, which contain the low levels as well. All right? This seems like it's a very vague description, but you get the idea of what I mean. We do that with people. We do that with positions in society. And so just naturally we would tend to do that with devotees. We would tend to do that with positions we take in the movement, higher, lower, better, worse, this thing, that thing. See, poverty can even be looked at as the ability to live without the dependence on anything in this world. Then it gives us another viewpoint of it, adding to our life a means of freedom. Freedom is also something very much cherished that very few people even know the full meaning of. They're not free. They think they're free. Most people in this country, if you ask them, are you a free moral agent? Oh yeah, I believe I'm a free moral agent. But they're being dictated to by the demands of their bodies, by the demands of their senses, by the demands the mind has conditioned them, been allowed to be conditioned by the modes of material energy, and the exposure to it the soul has given itself over to, the power of. Everything now we've gotten ourselves involved with, it's called, quote unquote, humanity, has forced us to give over powers to those that we don't understand we're giving them to. For example, hours of the day now being governed by a machine, not the sun. The sun is the maker, is made by the one from whom everything came. But man manipulating the material energy then transforms his idea of what time is, puts it into a mechanical form. So we have become controlled by that sense. What other things do we do like that? We put in our mind, because of monetary value in many cases, because the boss gets paid more, he's more important than I am. Because the person in society that is getting more wealth is considered to be more important than the one who has no wealth. But ability, Krishna says, I am the ability in man. So what is that ability that Krishna is that makes the one who is being used by that ability, by one who is manifesting that ability? That's where a value should be. With a man's life, what purpose his life is fulfilling is adding to society, for society to become more free, for society to become stronger in its understanding of absolute truth, in its understanding of the cause of everything. In that, where we can apply ourselves then to knowing what we want to do with our lives and how we can apply what we want to do to helping others come to Krishna consciousness with our abilities that we have developed to this point. Any ability we have developed can be used in Krishna consciousness. We've seen even prostitutes, in the case of a devotee that even poked his eyes out with needles. Trying to remember. And then Krishna appeared to him in this blind state, and then he knew it was Krishna. He started chasing him around. Yeah. Bilva Mangala Thakur.
This is in Bhagavatam?
This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
This is Chaitanya Charitamrita.
The prostitute told him, if you would spend as much time looking after God, you would go back to God, as you did looking for the pleasure you get from prostitutes. He would go through storms, rainy weather, and storms that most people would give up on, trying to get to the prostitute's home, to seek what he thought was pleasure. And then when he came to find Krishna, and realizing his eyes, which he wasn't able to control, was the cause of his fall down, so he poked his eyes out.
If thine eye offend thee, pluck it out.
Huh?
If thine eye offend thee, pluck it out.
That's right. See, and so this is evidence also that our physical bodies, we're using the mind, but there is no limit with the physical body keeping us from being able to experience spiritual consciousness. So he poked his eyes out that he felt he needed to see. We have Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevam, Dasham, Shakyamatma, Nivedam, Archanam, Vanam. But we don't have seeing. Seeing.
Oh, wait. Okay.
Not really one of the means of going back to Godhead. Even though it can be very advantageous to our experience, not one of the experiences necessarily that will bring us back to Godhead. But see, we put so much trust on what we see to determine what we believe is possible. And so the eyes can be very deceiving. What we are having the experience of illusion with is the eyes. The eyes, to the greatest extent, is the cause of our illusion in the world. And the mind has been conditioned to believe that certain forms are more pleasurable to look at. This is all illusion. And it is entrapping us and ensnaring us in itself. The illusory energy ensnares us in itself. So we have to be careful what we feed the mind and what we give the mind allowance to engage itself in. Somehow or other, we used to say by hook or by crook, we got to force ourselves to find these books for the significance that they are, for the importance that they are. So Prabhupada said that law books for the next 10,000 years. Can anybody in the law system at any Harvard, Yale University tell us how long their laws are going to stay for? 10,000 years they can make that claim? The laws they've been making for the last 200 years have been all changed over and over and over. Every year, that's all they do is argue about the law. These are our law makers that by their own taking part in this activity, they are admitting that they don't know, that the system itself is not in totality with absolute truth. It can't be. Otherwise, there would be no question in anyone's mind. If God was there, being in everyone's mind the absolute ruler, and that won't happen until the earth's justice system is replaced by Krishna consciousness. Eventually it will happen. But the disasters that are coming will be required. Is this system, in order for this system to change, got to be broken down. And this is all foretold, known thousands, millions of years ago. What would bring about the change that will make this the heavenly planet it's going to be? When Kali Yuga is seen in its peak as the golden age, that it will be by the chanting of Krishna's holy names taking over the minds and consciousness of everyone on the planet. Then, as Srila Prabhupada foretells, it will be such a yuga within Kali Yuga. Self-realized souls will be on the planet, born with the perfection of the cities. Heavenly beings that were living in the heavenly planets and are now waiting, wanting to take birth on this planet to take part in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. This is what we have to look forward to. This is what we have to realize this preaching is for, the creation of. Thy will be done in earth means God's ways be established in all people on the planet. There will be no even need for courts, prisons. And when diseases are conquered, there won't be any need for hospitals. When Krishna consciousness is fully realized on the planet. This is how it is in Satya Yuga. We have to come to remember what it was like. We were there. We were all alive in Satya Yuga. Not necessarily human. But we were there. If we were there, the environment was such that we were experiencing. Krishna can bring to our remembrance and let us know what he wants it to be like. And let us take part in the greatest activities that he's revealing and that is named as devotional service. We have to see the effects, to take pleasure in these activities that seem to be of a mundane nature, but to know that these little steps we're taking now in these acts of purity, when we plant crops, we're not planting crops so that we can get rich off of it. We're planting crops so that they can be offered to Krishna, from whom everything comes from to begin with. And so, by that offering, then that others can benefit. So it's a difference between those mundane jobs in the material world everybody's engaging in to try and enrich themselves. This is all false ego. And why the world is in a state of suffering. It's all false ego. I, me, and mine. And it's the most difficult thing to break. Because we think we have been conditioned by our parents, by our loved ones, by everybody, to believe that we are the most important thing there is. I, me, and mine. I gotta take care of me, I gotta take care of mine. Therefore, I want this, I want that, I gotta have this, I gotta have that. What's the latest fashion? Who's got the newest story? And this is all bordering on the borderline of insanity, because it is the same consciousness we have had millions and millions of years been developing about I, me, and mine. My family, my children, my house, this and that. And all keeping us connected to this material state of existence. And not being able to see, have the foresight to see what Krishna wants. And that's what we need to all have in our consciousness, is what does Krishna want? And then we will be able to see with spiritual eyes the soul in the bird, the soul in the frog, the soul in the president, the soul in the thief, the soul in the elephant. We've been those forms also. And the fact that we're going to die, we're going to have to leave these bodies, means that there is a form of punishment we're being put through in this world because we deserve it. We're not here because we don't deserve it. And it is because we deserve it that we got to get out of the way we're thinking and get into the way that will lead us into that consciousness where Krishna will put us in a better place, where there is no more suffering, no more disease, no more birth, old age, and death. And every moment, just like I was expressing about the experience of reading Bhagavatam, it's like a new experience with every word that comes, every time you read it. And life should be like that also. You can see by study of Srila Prabhupada's, not only his letters, not only his lectures, everything he's written, he's never repeating himself. He's giving a new lecture. Every time you hear a lecture, brand new lecture. Everything he speaks, it's like Krishna's words coming out with the newness of eternal spiritual quality. That's what we're longing for. That's what we need to develop in our minds, the longing for. We want to know what is eternalness. And as long as we keep clinging to the temporary, thinking of it as that it can satisfy us, we will continue to have that. And it is only until we look to the eternal to be that which fills that space in our heart that we look at as the most important. Then if I have service to do that is directly connected to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, if somebody asks me to do something else, am I a fool to think there's something better to do? Yet we do our service like that. We think of our service and that, well, I'll do it today if I want to. I'll get somebody else to do it for me because it's a burden, it's a task. The scriptures say if you take on God's will for your life, then it will be much easier to conduct your life than if you try to take upon yourself
Meaning
the responsibilities of life, the false ego.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So as we are acting out of the will of false ego, we are also taking upon ourselves the result of our activities. Doesn't that make sense? Whereas if we act upon the instructions of Krishna, then we get the resolve, because he's in control of everything, of what he wants for us. Then so we have to make a simple decision. Do I want what I want, or do I want what Krishna wants? So what I want can be what Krishna wants if I make that decision in my heart. I only want to serve Krishna, and that's the only decision. If you make that decision once and forever, that's what the sacrifice is. That's what the fire sacrifice is. That's what the initiation is. And then from there on in, every day is a new experience of the eternal relationship and the love Krishna has given us that initiation to experience about him. That he's been with us since time immemorial, and now he wants to fill us with an experience of his love. We can't contain it completely yet. But as we apply the principles of Krishna consciousness, we will be able to contain more and more and more. And as each of us as individuals contain more and more, there will be a transformation of the world. And eventually we become what Krishna wants the world to be. We say Krishna is in control, but Krishna doesn't force people to do things that they don't want to do. We see that even when he went to the Kauravas, he was asking them not to fight. So he's revealing to them the nature of his own attitude. He doesn't want people to have to make wars against each other. He wants them to know the purity of his love. Everything's made by him, so how can he make things any other way than the way that he is? So then we can have a viewpoint, a vision, when we see everything. Every family of every animal is geared towards developing that soul's ability to know what love is. And so then it can make a next stage of advancement. Even enemies. Enemies are in a position over the ones that they kill, and the ones that they kill have in their minds the fear of them, so that when they leave their bodies, that fear will have driven them into that higher form of life. So everything seems to us to be fighting against this thing, fighting against that thing. But everything is working together for your good. As long as you are living to serve Krishna, because everything's working for his pleasure. So we have a lot to be happy about, because we have the greatest treasure there is that human beings have available to be able to find in Krishna. In Krishna, we have so much to be thankful. I'm going to have to end class here because I'm actually going over now. We have service to do. Anybody have any comments, any questions, any realization? Questions are all answered, right? Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam, Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai. Thank you very much.
Thank you.